Services, part of the solution. Dr. Kim Ryan.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, everyone. Before I start, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land in which we meet, the Wurundjeri people, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. And I'd also like to thank them for the ongoing custodianship of the land on which we're meeting. In the essence of getting us back on time, I'm going to whiz through this so that we can get to morning tea on time. So bear with me. Can I just say before I start this presentation, I want to put out a call to Chris and Indigo. TED Talk. You two should do a TED Talk. For sure. Now, hang on, let me get this thing. Oh, are we ready to go up here? Anyway, I'll just keep talking. So what I want to talk to you about today is some of the work that we've been doing in terms of nurses, mental health nurses, and well, hopefully at one point we'll do something for midwives in terms of addressing the physical health needs of people with mental health problems, and also making sure that people with physical health problems have got their mental health cared for. But that's not the presentation that I'll be talking about today. And because I've got no slides, I'm just going to talk to you about it. In Australia, we have about 410,000 nurses and midwives. Now, a lot of people know nurses and midwives, and a lot of people, wherever they enter the health system, will at some point come in contact with a nurse. So if we want to improve the physical health of people that are in our health systems, and in this instance people that have mental health problems, we've got 410,000 people that we've got to influence to be able to do a better job. That's our goal in terms of this presentation. So you can imagine what we'd do if we influenced all of those people. And I'll pick up on this point that someone talked about before about perinatal depression. You know, there's 600,000 families a year are affected by perinatal depression. And on average, those people are not going to get to see any of us that are mental health professionals until they become very unwell. So we have to make sure that all the people that they come in contact with are better able to identify and support people. So a lot of those people will see midwives, and a lot of those people will see general practice nurses, because that's where they'll go to get their postnatal care. So we've got to be able to influence. Still haven't got a slide. Okay, I'll keep going. We've got to be able to influence those people. So the part of this project that I'm talking about is some of the work that we've actually done. There's two parts of it. It's a bit of work that we did with general practice nurses, and then I've also got a card that I'll share with you in a little while. So we know that on average most people go to see their GP in the first place. The Health of the Nation report released by the College of General Practitioners this year reported that 62% of people that go and see the general practitioner go and see them for a mental health or a psychological intervention. That's up from 61% last year. So in my rudimentary mathematics, that tells us there's about 200,000 extra people that are going to see a general practitioner for some psychological or mental health condition. Now, that doesn't necessarily equate to the fact that the incidence of mental illness or mental health problems in the community's increased. We can't say that, but what we can say is maybe there's more people that are identifying that they have mental health distress and are going to see the GP. So if we think that 62% of the people that go and see a GP, and we know that there's 14,000 general practice nurses in the country. So if we can get those 14,000 general practice nurses... Have I still got any slides? No? Okay. Anyway, I'll keep going. I've already given it to you before. Yes, I have. I gave it to you. I'm not going to argue with you. We'll just carry on without the slides. It's fine. I'm happy to wing it without... Is everybody happy without the slides? Yeah, so we'll just keep going. So anyway, in the country there's 14,000 general practice nurses. So if we can get every general practice nurse to be able to do better, to look after the physical health of people that are going into general practice, we're going to make a difference. So that's what we wanted to do. We also know that there's a whole bunch of other nurses that we have to influence. We have to influence the existing workforce, we have to influence the students, we have to influence the up-and-coming workforce. So we also know that the existing workforce doesn't do as good a job as looking after the physical health. That's why we're all here. We know that we've got to get better education at undergraduate level for registered nurses in regards to mental health and physical health intersection. Now, one of the things that's really exciting, and I can't hold my heart to this, but we are just reviewing the registered nurse accreditation standards, and I'm hoping that in this new iteration we will actually have a discrete module that says we've got to have mental health in the undergraduate curriculum, which means that's something that we haven't had before, that's mandated in the curriculum. So we'll have all nurses coming out of university with a better understanding about mental health and physical health intersection. So that's really, really important. So the last round of consultation's been done on that, so we can only hold our fingers crossed, but hopefully that will go to the Nurses Board shortly, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that in there. The other thing that we did in terms of, so how did we start this project with the general practice nurses? What we did is we developed a scope of practice which actually said what the general practice nurses can do around mental health, and that was really important because for us it was, they're not mental health nurses, but they should be able to do better in regards to we should be able to do better in regards to mental health, and so we developed a scope of practice looking at what their role was. We wanted to define that with the general practice nurses so that we and they were taking ownership of what we and they were saying they were able to do in terms of mental health. So that was really important. So we started with the scope of practice. Then we decided here we go, got some slides, woohoo. So then, once we decided we had a scope of practice for them, we then had to educate them to get them up to speed with all of this stuff. So we developed 5 online modules for them, from basic, understanding mental health, first aid 101, through to a bit more complex stuff. But the really important thing, or the really exciting thing, is that we've had these modules online. Now, I'm really excited about this, and I hope you all are as well. We've only had these modules online since July last year, and in that time we've had 4,100 people view them, and 2,000 people enrol in them, and 1,500 people complete them. And I think for a short period of time, in just over 7 months, that's a really lot of people that have completed these modules. And what that tells me is there's a thirst out there for these people that actually want to be able to do them. The good thing is also is that some of the other mental health nurses are actually doing them, which is making me confident that everybody's trying to keep themselves up to date with this. So, for our purposes here, this is just one of the modules that we did, but we wanted to understand, really get these general practice nurses to understand the physical health that they were going to be looking after, because that's their main focus, is looking after people's physical health. So we've made a discrete module for them to be able to understand that. The other thing that's really important for us, or for me as well and everybody else, is for the general practice nurses to actually understand the co-occurring mental health conditions of people with physical health problems. So just as an example, and please, my friends, don't get, the statistics might not be right, but we do know that men over, say, 45 that have a heart attack are going to have an increased rate of suicide, and that's going to stay high for 12 months. Those people are going to go back and see their GP. Now, if their GP and their GP nurse, when she's checking their blood pressure and making sure they're all right, doesn't know to ask about depression, that's going to get missed. So this is really important that we get these GP nurses to be able to have these conversations, know about the incidence of these things, and be able to feel confident to ask the question and then feel confident to do something with it. So that's really important. So then I decided what could we do next in terms of trying to get people to look after the physical health of people with the mental illness, and here comes the card. The card. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of nurses in mental health services have a little card on their lanyard, which is why to remind them how to do the mini mental state when they write their notes and what they're looking for when they're talking to consumers and they're writing in the file. So then I thought, well, if everyone's going to have one of these, we'll put a physical health check on the other side. And that will remind them to actually look at the physical health aspects of someone that they're looking after or they're working with. So that was really important. And these things, I have to say, have pretty well gone out like hot... Now, obviously, I'm not used to the slides now. These things have gone out like hotcakes. Now, I just want to thank the National Mental Health Commission for the funding to do this project. That was really important. So I want to thank them for doing that. So thank you, Catherine, if you're here. There's plenty of these little cards outside. I've got some, they're on the desk out there. And if people want to get bulk, they can just contact us and we can send you some. So the next thing I want to try and do, going back to the earlier point, is try and do something like the scope of practice and educating and upskilling all those 410 nurses and midwives around mental health and physical health. Because if they're going to be seeing the people, whether they're in the cancer ward or whether they're in the general practice or whether they're a new mother with a little baby, they're not going to be seeing me as a mental health nurse. They're going to be seeing someone else. So we've got to get these other people to be able to do better. And the last point I wanted to make was we've still got to keep working on these leverage points that we've got in our priority areas in the National Mental Health Plan, in our psychosocial supports, that now those agreements have been made with the Commonwealth and the states and territories that looking at supporting the psychosocial supports for our people, and the Head to Health website where there's, and I'll just have to mention this, that I did check out the Head to Health website the other day, which is a Commonwealth website about where people can go for mental health information, and my friends, there's nothing on there about physical health. So I'll just let you know that I will be addressing that when I return to Canberra. So in the essence of time, I'm finished. So thank you, everybody.